Speaking of what horrible places are there on Earth, the first thing that came to my mind was the abyss or something like Bermuda Triangle. Every so often beds and airplanes disappear, it doesn't seem to keep finding out. So then our short sentence for today. The Bermuda Triangle is such an urban adventure story. Because there are 4 hours, so let's break it down into the next video. The story comes from a whaling ship off Bermuda. And people are doing things that are illegal. There must be someone who rents elk, one of them. But this time they did not succeed to stop the other side to arrest wild in a row of people in the difficult time of Miro. Strange bubbles suddenly appeared on the bottom of the sea. It's not often that there's an explosion, and finally sank to the bottom with Milo, because right next to it. In the end, only he survived. At the same time, civic experts were called to the coast. They were journalists, psychic powers, professor of meteorology, Eli, marine physicist. The rich man was the owner of a seasick company. There are 303 cargo ships left. A year ago it was 309 pairs. It's been more than a year of correspondence in the Bermuda Triangle. He has several ships. But that's not the main thing. The main thing is that one of the ships came back. 25 crew members can really live intimate lives. Having lost those people, it's almost always scary. The rich man even took out Columbus's diary at that time, in which he recorded his experiences in the Bermuda Triangle. And I've seen huge steel boats there. In the end, it was used to disappear. It was bad to hope that an expert in a different field. Help yourself to find out why his bed disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle. If I could find out, each of them will get $5 million. To hear that you could get so much money, it was a person who pretended to be reserved and agreed. Sister investigates Bermuda. As for the democracy that the letter sent back was taken home by the wife, he noticed that the color of his car had changed. These are a little extra room. What the hell is this? Am I stupid to be in the hospital? Got the Vajra Guru mantra. It was a little hard for him to take. Of course. Don't worry because there's more to you than that. As a small team of 4 people at the airport prepared to travel to their destination to investigate, Uncle Psychic sees a little girl and her parents at the airport. I don't know why it felt weird to her. He seemed to have a hunch that something was wrong. The facts prove that he was right. Because when the plane that the little girl was in took off, passing near Bermuda there was a violent turn. The little girl was nervous about going to the bathroom. Unexpectedly, many aircraft similar to fighter planes appeared in the sky. Finally the plane headed straight for the bottom of the sea. The matter has also alarmed the plutocrats and potential experts. When they heard the news, hurrying to his destination, the rich man asked his assistant to give him a false certificate for his teacher. Blend smoothly into the rescue front line to learn the situation. By knowing that they knew that this was an airliner, a Boeing 747. Now this time at the bottom, the last time the meters were in this position, it's almost impossible to have any divers on the third ring road. So they had to use robotic submersibles to spy on what was going on underwater. And what they found was, the plane that just crashed looked like the last few decades. It was quite tired after being covered with rust. But next to the plane, they found a 40-year-old bomber. The pilot inside looked like he just died, so what's going on here? At the same time, Uncle Tolling sensed that the little girl was still alive, so injury physicists and meteorologists are getting ready to dive in and take a look. In the end, under the guidance of Uncle Thorin, they found the little girl in the toilet. If it's a little girl, not an old woman. She was in a terrible panic. And he said, when I was 6, I was looking for my mom and dad. If he hadn't gone to the bathroom, it may not be immune. No one has asked Wong for his overall situation. Since he is coming soon, the 4 of them had to leave first, and just as the physicist was getting ready to get on the plane, the sight of bodies and planes lying on the surface of the sea, apparently the Corgi's last case. But it was gone in a moment. So all the ghost phenomena they see are analyzed without a clue. The only thing that can be forced to explain is the fact that meals form businesses along the seafloor. And that explains why in the first place they got caught in a swarm of sharks and killed a swarm that couldn't get close to them, and the news reports also pointed out that this accident was caused by turbulence. Is to conceal the little girl into the old lady this matter. In order to find out, Muhao poured money into the submarine to send several people into the sea to investigate. It doesn't matter if I don't check. A check startled. Halfway through, they encountered a multitude of music factories. It's really a spectacle. The physicist said, that's a lot like the idea of charging in water. This is not the end of the surprise, and saw the shipwrecks by the dozen. Many are historical accounts of lost ships. But the captain said, I was here a few weeks ago, and saw nothing, and there's only 500 meters here. No one else could have missed that. But according to the law of the sea, the head of the regiment is the one who finds it. But no matter how many of these big waves of scrap iron you sell, you'll be on your way to the top. And that's when, there was a violent vibration on the submarine. The entire submarine was electrified, the people were trapped underwater. I don't even have a phone anymore. How can you ask for help? The traversers can only race against time to repair, otherwise, when we run out of oxygen, we're all going to get together and submarine number 2 has been erected and repaired. At last they came back to the surface, not yet recovered, was arrested by a group of unknown people. When they woke up, they could not figure out what to do with their wrists. Mainly because they learned that these men worked for the very rich. Finally they throw them back onto the beach where they came from. What kind of operation is this? Meteorologists say, as I was being escorted I saw a huge power distribution room, and huge windows. It looks like a huge underwater structure. So he concluded that the building where the people were originally confined underwater, it could only be a secret government project. They narrowly missed being found out, and what they thought was not wrong. It was indeed a secret government experiment here. They had thought that some of them had come to make trouble. Once you figure it out, you indulge. Now, with only 50 hours to go before they carry out their plan, there's nothing for moths. Physicists don't really want to do that anymore, although it's a lot of money, but life is more important. A man seems to have reached an agreement, ready to give up his fortune. But will it really end so simply? Strange things happened to all four of them. The physicist went home. I found myself with a golden mother. But she was adopted as a child. What the hell is this? So do meteorologists. He went back to the institute and found himself dead. The newspapers, to be exact, showed that he had passed, but all of a sudden, everything seemed to be back to normal. This strange event forced them to return to the side of the plutocrats. Physicists wondered why some of them had stomachs that affected their brains. So there was confusion. It's not as bad as they think. It was also the brother he often saw. And the reason he went to Bermuda to find the truth, the brother of the mortgage crash is missing there. But when it comes to government announcements. So the authorities sent in pressure. Suspend him for investigation. This is awkward, but how can a plutocrat be a plutocrat? He asked several people to speed up the investigation, but even as they were getting ready to go, to see how different the world is out there, there were soldiers from the Nazi era. What the hell is this? He wanted the soldiers to be rude to them, but after a while, it all ends in a ripple. In the past, the main street was restored. If it's a hallucination, so can four people have these hallucinations at the same time? The worst is that the Peruvian ingot is used to having a young son. And now he's gone. And they're both gone. And the wife forgot herself. Son is really poisonous. He also went to see a psychiatrist, but the things about you, can a psychologist handle it? He was surrounded by data pairs. Although the panel was also confronted with ghosts and what was going on at the bottom of the Bermuda Triangle, what are the government's secret plans? Sister Sia, we will unveil today's recommendation, so I'll stop there. See you next time.